will curse you to your face. God said no, he'd never do it, not in 100 years, no matter what. Satan said, well, how are we going to know? Would you like to make a wager? It doesn't give us the details of the wager. But the storyteller says God picked up the bet and said, okay, let's try it. I'll take the wall down from around my special friend Job. You do your best. I promise you, no matter what you do, he'll never curse me. Satan said, the bet is on. According to the terms of the wager, God did take the wall down from around his special friend Job, and Satan then does one of his all-time famous numbers. According to the storyteller, first Satan took his wealth, stripped him of his wealth. Satan said, that'll do it. Where's your friend God? He didn't curse God. Satan said, well, number two, took his health. Blow number two. Surely now he'll curse his friend God. No. Blow number three, and the worst, took his family. His health, his wealth, and his family. Gone. Satan said to God, here's where he does it. And sure enough, Job's wife comes along and says, Job, looks like your friend God has long forsaken you. You might as well curse him and die. And Satan said, here's where he does it. And God says, well, he hasn't talked yet. And while they both listen, Job says, never would I curse my friend God no matter what happens. God said, I knew it. I knew it. And picked up the bet. Whatever it was, doesn't tell it. Isn't that a fascinating story? Now, I say all of that to illustrate this. It seems like God delights in great adventure. And the only way to have great adventure, it seems like, is to have both danger and opportunity, and us with the possibility of figuring it out. Jot this down. Now, it's a nice little list. On one side is evil, on the other side is good. Why is that? It seems like the best answer is God wanted to create a grand adventure. Here's what the prophet said: love good and hate evil. That's the philosophy that'll help you develop this unique life. Love good and hate evil. Okay? Here's the next one: illness and health. Part of the danger is the dangers to your health. Illness is always seeking to overcome health. Health is always pushing back, trying to overcome illness. It's called push-shove of the most critical kind. In your bloodstream right now, there's white corpuscles and red corpuscles. Red ones to nourish like a mother, and white ones to fight and kill like a father. White corpuscles think negative all day. White corpuscles say, just show me some infection, I'll kill it. Because if I don't kill it, what? It kills you. Somebody's going to get killed today. White corpuscles say, it's up to me to make sure it's not you. So the war is on even in your bloodstream. Red to nourish, white to kill. So the key is to cooperate with the positive side of what's going on with your health. But what if the body calls for a banana in support of good health, trying to overcome illness? The body calls for banana and you send it a Coca-Cola. Doesn't the body have the right to say, whose side are you on? Liberty and tyranny. The danger is tyranny. George Bush, our president, has his work cut out for him. How far to go in the suppression of tyranny so that the world can experience more freedom and liberty. It's a delicate deal. It's a challenge of the highest magnitude. A lot is at stake. Your good health is at stake. Your fortune is at stake. Your career is at stake. The safety of your family is at stake. Your own self is at stake. And if you don't do this very well, spotting the dangers and cashing in on the opportunities, then you live a very limited life compared to what you could have, especially if you live in a country where it's unlimited in terms of economic potential. This is good to ponder. Okay. Why is it this way to create a good adventure? Jot this down as my last illustration. We're going to have to wrap this up here pretty soon. Here's my last illustration on this. Would it be possible to win if you couldn't lose? And the answer is no. Doesn't seem like it. In order to win, you have to play the game. And in the game of life, you have to take on the dangers and the opportunities. Minimize one, maximize the other. It's the only way to have an adventure. What if you took a football, put it under your arm, walked out to the nearest football stadium and walked across the goal line? Would we all cheer and call it a touchdown? And the answer is no. It's not a touchdown until you face the 300-pounders who want to smash your face in the turf. And if you can muscle by them and then dance by the secondary and cross the goal line, we say you scored a touchdown, maybe you win the championship. But you can't win unless there's a possibility to lose. But this is called the game of life. And once you decide, yes, this is how it is, then I'm going to start doing my best to keep refining my personal philosophy as a guidance system so these dangers don't drag me down and so that I can be free to accelerate the opportunities. That's the game of life. And that's why we have multiple speakers come speak to us the last couple of days and today. Because we need many voices. One person doesn't have all the answers. Because part of this is spiritual, and part of it is social, and part of it's religious, and part of it's economic. I tend to deal more with the practical than the spiritual. Others deal more with the spiritual than the practical. But we need these multiple voices to give us as good ideas as possible how to carve out this good life. Now make these notes and we're going to take our first break. Here's how we develop this guidance system. Add this little extra illustration. Your personal philosophy is like a sail on a sailboat. The wind is always blowing, some kind of winds of opportunity, winds that are unfavorable. And you've got to have a wind of activities, things happening to take you somewhere, to your dreams, to the money you want, what you want for your family, your career, and for your future. Here's what you want, and there's plenty of winds blowing. Yes, some favorable, some unfavorable. Yes, some strong. Yes, some treacherous. Yes, some gentle and easy. But you got to have this happening in order to go somewhere. But the key is not to curse the wind if it isn't favorable, but rather to keep setting a better sail. The same wind blows on us all. The difference in where we arrive is not the blowing of the wind, but the set of the sail. And that's why we take notes. That's why we learn and read. That's why we study and pray. That's why we ask for guidance from above and guidance from next door and guidance from a friend and guidance from the minister and guidance from the lyrics of a song and the dialogue of the movie. That's why we ask for all of this, to help us keep refining, so that the good life keeps expanding and growing until we have far more than we need for ourselves and for our family. That's it. Now to do this, thank you. Jot this down now. We use our mind to think and process ideas and information. I can't give it to you much clearer, I don't think. To set this sail, to develop this guidance system, we think about ideas and information. And we use these ideas and information to have better guidance for today than we had yesterday, better for 2003 than we had for 2002. People to admire and people to despise. You got to have both stories to be properly educated on dangers and opportunities. So learn from other people's experiences, even if they're negative. If you're driving down this road, somebody flags you down, you stop, roll down the window. This guy that stopped you looks like he's been in a wreck. His head is bleeding. His clothes are almost all torn off. And he says to you, don't go down this road any further. The bridge is out. I just survived the crash and came back to warn you. Would you roll up the window and say, mind your own business and head on down the road? The answer is no. No. Here's what the Bible is full of: warnings and examples. Warnings and examples. You gotta have both if it's a good book. Someone says, oh, I just go for the positive stuff. Then you're undereducated. You need a book on Gandhi and you need a book on Hitler. One to show you how high and noble someone could aspire, and the other one is how evil and despicable. You got to have both books. This is part of the adventure. Learning good, evil, where the dangers are. Now, there's 3 ways to learn. Quickly. Number 1. Learn from what you see. Part of the challenge now in learning from other people is to just pick up the signals. Part of it is by sight. Here's a good watchword for the 21st century. Pay attention. No use falling into the same trap somebody else fell into. No use living a mediocre life like somebody else has chosen. Take a look and say, is that what you really would like? Say, no. Here's somebody that never read the books, never made the changes. There was a class and they didn't take it, a skill and they never learned it, a discipline and they never tried it, and they blame the government and blame taxes and blame society and they blame circumstances and all the rest. They don't know. And the key is, watch carefully. Don't you fall into that same trap. That's how we learn, from what we see. Here's next. If we learn from what we see, we put some of this on video so you can see it again and again and again. Next, you learn from what you hear. We put it on CDs so you can hear it and hear it, hear it. We don't ask you to come to just one seminar. We ask you to come and listen again, listen again. Here's what the early Christians were taught. Don't neglect the assembly. When we call an assembly, do your best to be there, because you never know which of these assemblies is going to change your life forever. You'll never be the same again. And you can't pick the one that's going to totally change your life. You just have to do like all of you I know do. Consistently go, consistently go, consistently go, consistently take notes, consistently go to seminars and lectures and all of the rest, because some of them will be life-changing. Maybe this one will be for some of you. The time is right, the words are right, the ideas are right, the moment is here. We don't know. We just come as many times as we can, be affected by as much language as we can, and see what that'll do for our sight and our ambition, our willingness to develop skills, be a leader, influential. Here's the next one. Be a selective listener. Don't just load up on stuff that isn't going to count. We all need a little humor, but not that much. Life is a pretty sober place. It's life or death. It's success or failure. It's flourishing or mediocrity. This is a serious matter. So, make sure that what you listen to gives you the full range, a good diet of things to listen to. The positive, yes, but the negative also. We need to hear it from both sides. Okay. Years ago, I saw an advertisement once on Roseanne. Tune into Roseanne, white chicks talking trash. I thought, oh, America needs more of that. Now, you don't need much of that. White chicks talking trash. Here's a good note. This is a good one. My teacher taught me when I was 25, stand guard at the door of your mind. Stand guard at the door of your mind. And you decide what to listen to, what not to listen to, how much time to give to what. Now, the third one is important, and when we come back this afternoon, we'll continue it. But here's number 3. Read all the books. Now, there's millions of books, so you can't read all the books. But here's what I mean by read all the books. Read all the books you need to read to make your fortune, become powerful, influential, healthy, prosperous, aware, bright, helpful, partnership, father, mother, grandparent. Read all the books you need for your life to flourish and become the best it can possibly be during the course of your lifetime. Read all of those books. Don't be short on that list. My library certainly won't do it. I've only written 4 or 5 books. I'm working now on my 5th, I think it's my 5th book. It's going to be for teenagers and college kids. And I think the title is going to be, Of Course Kids Should Pay Taxes. Of course. It's going to be an interesting book on capitalism, because I teach capitalism now in Russia in very simple form. I might give you a couple of notes on that when we return. I teach kids how to have 2 bicycles, one to ride and one to rent. I mean, it doesn't take long to get into business and make a profit. Here's what changed my life and helped me make my first fortune. Jot this down. The philosophy that helped me make my first fortune. Profits are better than wages. Once I understood that, it was hard to sleep nights the first year. Profits are better than wages. Wages make you a living, which is fine. Profits make you a fortune, which is super fine. And when I started at age 25, I started doing both. Making wages and making profits. Unbelievable. One simple philosophy changed my whole economic future. Profits are better than wages. Read all the books necessary. Now, I'm going to give you some that started my library. I've got one of the best. If you saw it, you'd be impressed. Haven't read everything in my library, but I feel smarter just walking in it. Right. Okay, Gary, where are you? Enough for the first go-around here. We'll be back this afternoon with some more. Thank you for your patience. Appreciate it very much. God bless. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jim Rohn.
Wow, thank you. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it.